Hello and welcome to the 5th episode of SBI Presents Times Network Living Room Conclave India Education Mission with education partner Alliance University. Now today on this special episode, we're talking about enabling Indian students to be ready for the future. Of course, the impact of digitalization has been seen across all sectors, but in the education sector, it has enabled both the learner as well as the teachers. So on this very special episode, we're going to see how technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning, how have they impacted the sector and how they have helped the sector prepare the students for the future. So for this very special episode, I'm here at the Alliance University campus in Bengaluru, and I have two very special guests with me. Allow me to introduce them. First up, we have Dr. Anubha Singh, the Vice Chancellor of Alliance University. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. And we have Mr. Abhay Chebi. He's the Pro Chancellor at Alliance University. Thank you, sir, for being here, and for both of you for chatting with me here today. Ma'am, I'll start with you. Now, the National Education Policy 2020 came out in July 2020. How has the implementation of that policy impacted multidisciplinary approach of university teaching in India? And what are some of the measures taken that can ensure students have access to a good mix of subjects?
First of all, thank you for having me here, Sumit. National Education Policy is designed to make students future ready. And that's primarily because it focuses on multidisciplinarity. It focuses on critical thinking ability, problem solving skills. And universities in India are restructuring their existing academic courses or programs and also introducing new ones. For instance, Alliance University has used several measures to implement national education policy. To list a few, restructuring our academic programs, I would say encouraging students to engage in cross-disciplinary activities, encouraging faculty to not just engage in research in cross-academic disciplines, but also teach across disciplines. Certain courses in the School of Liberal Arts are designed in such a way that they're truly multidisciplinary. A very important aspect of national education policy that we have now implemented in the university is double degrees, double majors, major and minors. To give you examples, a student, for example, who's majoring in psychology also has the option to take a major in computer science. Or someone who's majoring in media studies, your field, for example, is also majoring in English literature. Or for that matter, any other discipline. It could be design, it could be philosophy. So a student, at least in the School of Liberal Arts, has to take a major along with a minor or along with a major, and these combinations sometimes lead to double degrees also. So at the same time, a student can have, let's say, a BA in media studies and a BSc in computer science, and use the artificial intelligence also, or I would say cutting edge technology in the media studies knowledge that the student is acquiring.
So this is really interesting because you're getting together two different verticals, aspects, and combining the force of that. Mr. Chebi, I'll get you in on this also, just to take this a step ahead, because what is your take on adoption of these innovative technologies from the perspective of university education in India? And just how do you think this will impact graduates in their preparedness for the new age jobs and careers that they need to be prepared for?
Very well. You mentioned NEP, so the National Education Policy 2020 really gave a lot of impetus to technology in education. It sort of mandated universities to start thinking and building a digital infrastructure on their campus. It also gave a lot of impetus on creating digital content and putting on UGC's own MOOCs, the SWAYAM. But what's very important for us to observe is that technology, unlike in other sectors, be it fashion or manufacturing, hasn't gotten caught up in education. Right. The reason for this, Sumit, is because the very complex teaching-learning process and the outcomes of it. It's not about 3 clicks and getting a product to your doorstep. It is about understanding the human brain and trying to see how the teaching and learning process can be further embellished with the use of technology, not complicate it with that. So what we've tried to do here at Alliance is we've understood this very well, and we've adopted three things. First is, of course, UGC gives us this flexibility of 40% of your curriculum to be taught online. It could either be supplemented or it could be part of your curriculum. So taking cues from there, what we've done is we've introduced blended learning at Alliance University. And what blended learning does is it gives the student ample time to learn outside of the classroom as much he or she learns inside the classroom at his own pace. You can re-look at those lectures. You can use certain content that need not be ours. It could be content gathered from the net, and here is where we carefully curate. But while doing that, this is where educational institutions play a very important role. Professor breaks that sort of 1 hour lecture into micro-learning content. This micro-learning content, if provided to a student in an impressionable way, can really penetrate into his mind. He can retain that and then be able to produce it whenever required. But this journey is not a journey that he or she takes alone. It's embellished with technology, it's guided by a faculty, and he truly learns this not just from the faculty, but collaboratively also with his peers. So sort of motivating him to be able to assimilate what he's learned and also reproduce it.
Absolutely, that's a very important point, because again, coming back to where we can get different forces combining different, and I really think that point is really important about how learning from outside the classroom. This was about the learning. Let's take one step back. So of course, technology, all of this has changed the curriculum. But what about the way classes are conducted, the way educators are hired, the way grades are awarded, the way exams are, marked, children are marked, students are marked. Also, importantly, offering students a global exposure, because it's no longer a contained university, contained country. We're global. Just your observation on how university, the functioning of these has also changed over the last few years. Your thoughts?
Very interesting. I would say to these things, there are three important drivers. One, of course, I would say is pandemic. It led to the digital technology and especially in the education sector, to national education policy. And the third one is internationalization. Now, India has been facing challenges, serious challenges of hiring high quality faculty. When I mean high quality faculty, I would say that primarily in certain areas, especially where we look at attracting international faculty from Ivy League institutions who are also at the cutting edge of their research. And these three drivers have made it such a transformational change, if I may say. Ease of hiring, ease of reaching out faculty, attracting them. NEP now gives the, I would say, flexibility to teach transdisciplinary courses. It wasn't possible earlier. NEP also gives a room, and it's almost mandated, that we have to have multidisciplinary credits in all programs. And therefore, when there are such opportunities, then to attract international faculty from Ivy League institutions to come and do this becomes almost like a natural phenomena. And I would say not just on the pedagogy or teaching part, but also in, I would say, declaring results. For example, use the latest technology. Even it reduces errors, human errors. So whether it is teaching, attracting faculty, hiring, or processes, these three drivers have really helped a lot.
Absolutely. We will come back to that also. Mr. Chebi, just so again, we'll take one more step back. So we spoke about first the curriculum, then we spoke about how the university is functioning. Now I'll take one more step back, which is the university and the stakeholders, which could be government, private industry outside. How are universities using technology to enable better relations, better integration with stakeholders beyond just the university campus?
Right. So stakeholders of a university, there are many. because university is a space where people live and breathe and collaborate and create. We have the government, we have the regulators, we have students who are studying with us, we have their parents, we have the general public, we have prospective students, we have researchers, we have industry. All of these different stakeholders have something or the other to do with the university. Either they work, either they expect some kind of a feedback, or they expect collaboration. So Alliance University has, well, we have taken the 3C model, that approach, where we connect, we communicate, and we collaborate. But we do that effortlessly by ensuring that we have packages that are truly beautifully designed for this particular thing. Well, we can talk about social media. Social media is a great engaging and information platform, but beyond that, if our faculty have to collaborate with researchers, we have applications that help them do that. They could be able to talk to their research fellow across continents, and then be able to also do their research activity almost seamlessly. When you look at our alumni, 30,000 plus alumni in so many different countries and so many different organizations, they need to be able to talk to their alma mater. They need to be able to communicate with their own classmates or batchmates, and we do this through different applications. Similar is the case with students studying on campus. Their guardians or parents would like to know where exactly they are, what exactly they're doing. That's a very impressionable age. So to be able to achieve all this in a university platform, technology plays a very important role. And we do this by connecting all of these different applications to a single sign-on, where every stakeholder sort of gets into that environment and see what the university is doing, almost as a virtual university, if I may, and also collaborate and create beautiful results out of it.
I guess that's where the importance of the openness comes, because it's an open, so the transparency is there, which just helps build trust and relationships, because after all, it's a lifelong relationship that one has with the university. We'll keep the conversation going, but it's time for a very short break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the 5th episode of SBI Presents Times Network Living Room Conclave India Education Mission with education partner Alliance University. I'm here at the Alliance University campus in Bengaluru, and I'm in conversation with Dr. Anubha Singh and Abhay Chebi. Ma'am, continuing our conversation, of course, the pandemic has had a huge impact on everything. It's an understatement to even say it now. But in this, in the space of education, a lot of new technology has now come into this space. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, all of this is more and more being seen even in the education space. So how do you see the role of these technologies in the education angle for students?
Okay, Sumit, let me ask you a question. Let's say there is a college in India offering the latest 4 years bachelor's under NEP, and restricts its students to use internet because it believes that students should go to the library to refer to books and not use internet. Are we then preparing students for a future-ready industry? Or are we really making them future-ready? Aren't we doing a disservice by restricting them? So new technologies, whether it is generative AI or any other, because I would say generative AI is still in a very infant stage. There are limitations, but then it is so exciting even at this moment. No one can restrict that, and no one should, because our role as educators, and especially that's what we believe and focus in Alliance University, is to make students future ready. So we do have to integrate it in our curriculum rather than restrict it. So we welcome, I would say, new technology, we integrate it into pedagogy and also in research.
Fantastic. Mr. Chebi, just taking this ahead to you. So again, these technologies, some of the popular subjects, it's usually engineering, definitely MBA, medical sciences. How do you see the evolution of these technologies that I spoke to ma'am about, also artificial intelligence, machine learning, integrating into these? And impacting the demand of these subjects in India for students? Your thoughts?
Artificial intelligence is not something new to these fields such as defense and medical sciences that you mentioned. If you take a typical example of an MRI machine, it's a supercomputer, has immense computing power, it's got a great algorithm that also adapts, and it's fed with immense amount of data. With the help of a good scanner, it can generate life-saving decisions, but the decision to be made by a doctor. Right? So the doctor has to know to interpret and understand these technologies. So what we here at Alliance University do is we have something called as adaptive learning. It helps students learn concepts. I spoke about micro-learning. A student has not learned that concept. He takes a detour. He understands in different ways and comes back and satisfactorily answers certain questions that the system, the algorithm understands that the student has got it. And then he can continue the journey. Thereby, he is bound, he's forced, he's pushed, he's motivated to learn outside of classroom. But I want to also address one important thing. The millennia faces a challenge of how to learn. The art of learning how to learn is something we need to teach students, right? And this is something where universities play a very important role. We are converting some of our classrooms into AR, VR enabled, and also turning one course in one program across all the programs to be able to be taught and learned through AR and VR. So imagine this as a chemistry class, and I have my gear on, and I see how chemical bonds are formed, how reactions take place. And to be able to virtually experience this gives me that interest to get on and learn. So we need to create that interest, and then through adaptive learning, we help students assimilate what they have learned and most importantly, apply what they have learned, right? So by doing this, I feel, be it any field, be it engineering, be it medical sciences, or even MBA, we can ensure that the learning outcomes are delivered.
That is so true, because as educators, it's not about what is required today. You need to see what these students require 5 years, 7 years down the line, but they have to start preparing from today. Ma'am, Sir spoke about ChatGPT. Of course, it's a big rage since it was launched. Everyone loves to talk about it. But your thoughts. You also earlier mentioned about using technology in the university, but how can these technologies, what is the transformation that they can bring about in the teaching as well as assessing the teaching of students?
So large language models, like today it's ChatGPT, tomorrow there will be many more. They are going to transform the teaching, learning, or the future of teaching and learning across the world. And it's interesting to see how universities are embracing that. I would like to give you some examples what we are doing at Alliance. For example, our professors, while rewarding creativity, while rewarding the critical nuances in writing or developing complex text, are also looking at developing something called as Gaia, Generative Artificial Intelligence Assistance Policy, which says that, well, how do we use, we would mean faculty, at the same time students. So it's of course looking at the teaching, learning or pedagogy policy, that how do we embrace it, at the same time see that it is not, it's skilling students, but at the same time it's also challenging them to use their creativity. When it comes to critical thinking or writing skills, it's important to also see that there are policies in place. There is transparency of reference, policy on plagiarism, ethics, fairness, transparency, giving due credit, but at the same time it's also to study the linguistic model, because it's all about natural language processing. It's all about large data content and analyzing that. So, it's interesting to see how it's being developed in classrooms.
Absolutely, and it's really important to look at these aspects because after all, AI is a tool. It's just about how you use it, and that's most important, I feel, as the way goes ahead. Mr. Chebbi, one last question. So you spoke to me about, you gave me examples in the management space, how it's being used, technology. But what about space like arts, humanities? Because management, obviously IT, obviously medical sciences, technology is very much being used there. But what about these subjects like arts and humanities? Your thoughts on that?
Technology is everywhere, be it engineering, medical sciences, or arts. Let's look at arts and humanities. Traditionally, the tools that are still used in the space of art is your paintbrush, your canvas, your clay, but they still stay. But I must drag your attention to a recent study, 2021, in the Art and Design Review. Wang and Wang spoke about 2/3 of the jobs in the space of art are being offered by companies that are in digital art and technologies. 2/3, and that too for a salary of about $60,000 per year and above. So you can imagine how technology is sort of not taking over, but enabling that field. So artists now, and not surprisingly, are so used to applications. We use digital technologies in image processing, in image designing, in VFX, video production, gaming. So an artist will not lose his art if he learns technology. It will only help him grow and reach mass. I think even art is not something that escapes technology. Technology is like the air that we breathe. And one thing I must want to add here, we as educators, be it in any field, must design ways in which we teach the course. Gone are those days where professors were the sage on the stage, right? You must become a guide by the side, use technology, and truly flip the classroom and encourage students to also learn these hands-on tools to be able to do whatever they have to do in the future and create magic.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Singh. Thank you, Mr. Chebbi, for being here. And thank you for watching this very special episode of SBI Presents Times Network Living Room Conclave India Education Mission with education partner Alliance University, where today we were talking about how they can enable Indian students to be ready for the future. Thank you so much for watching.